Is everyone ready? Has everyone got their popcorn ready? I'll keep text-to-speech on. I am still grinding to
RDY.
the left-hand side. You ready? Is everyone else ready? Get your drinks. Let me just have a sip of my drink. Get your drinks. Get your things ready. Get your snacks ready.
Ready, bro.
You ready?
I have good hopes for this dude.
I think, Bask, I think we might be in good hands here. I think we will be, but let's have a watch. Okay, let me know if it's too loud. I will be keeping text-to-speech on as well, so if you guys want to say anything, just let me know. I'll try and not pause the video too much, because I am a bit of a bugger for that. But yeah, let's play it.
Hello everyone and welcome to a very special video. I'm your host, Mod Aiza, Lead Community Manager for Old School RuneScape, and I'm joined by the wonderful...
I am Mod Yuri, Community Manager for RuneScape.
And today we are joined by the one and only Mod North, Jagex's new CEO. Hello, Mod North.
Hello again. Hello. I'm good, I'm rested. RuneFest took it out of me for a bit, but I'm good, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, RuneFest, of course, we can't forget that. We have a load of questions to get through, but we're going to break the ice a little bit first. Let's talk about RuneFest. I had a fantastic time personally. How did you find RuneFest, Mod North? Were you there?
I was there, yeah. I mean, I've been at a few of them in the past as well, both as an employee and a player.
He worked at Huge Games.
And actually,
they develop casino slot gambling mobile games. Let's see what happens, eh?
Hello, Steve. Yeah, Stevie. Is that how you pronounce your name, Stevie? I apologise if I'm butchering that. Yeah, I did hear about that as well, to be fair. I did hear that about his past jobs that he's been in. So I think he mentions it in here, though. I think he does say that. So to fair play to him, he does mention what obviously the companies that he used to work for. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
The sort of the build up over 6 years and the sudden sort of relief moment when everybody got together again was amazing for me. Real goosebumps. I think it wasn't just amazing for the players, but to see our team as well interacting.
Question though, everyone that's just obviously coming, obviously that are here. What did we actually all think to RuneFest? Because we talked about it, but we actually generally didn't actually say if it was any good. What did you think to it? Did you think RuneFest was actually good, like as a good lineup for what they announced, or do you think it was just the same old shit that they always like say? Because let's be honest with you, I was a little bit impressed with the RuneFest. Well, with the event, obviously that they live streamed, and obviously they announced. I was quite impressed with it. I don't know if you guys feel any thought it was the same old shit that Jagex always puts out, but I quite liked it.
And getting together and spending time with the people they're trying so hard for was just like really special thing.
Yeah, it was really, really wholesome, heartwarming throughout. Did you have a favourite moment if you had to pick one throughout the whole weekend?
I think watching Austin try and chug that beer for about a minute straight, I think that was amazing.
And the socks, don't forget the socks.
I've never seen so much hype over a single thing, and it was socks. Yeah, it was amazing.
It definitely carried through for the entire event. I've been on 2 panels afterwards, and it was just socks.
We'll have to check our sales of socks after the event and see if that's our new best product.
They're pretty much sold out after that, I think.
Yeah, I bet.
So. It's amazing.
Okay, well, let's get into some light touch questions to begin with. I'm sure people are keen to know a little bit more about your background. But before we get into that, I just want to ask a very generic question of how does it feel to be stepping into the shoes of CEO at Jagex?
Yeah, it's an honor. It's a genuine honor. I've been playing these games for more than 20 years, as I said, and sort of come full circle and assume responsibility in this way is hard to describe. I'm imminently aware of, or deeply aware of, the responsibility to our players and our people. This is very, very precious ground. It's hallowed earth. And so yeah, I'm just very conscious that this needs to be treated, our games need to be treated with the utmost care and respect, and our communities too, obviously.
For sure.
Nice. So you touched on that. So for anyone watching who don't know who you are, for example, can you tell us a little more about your games industry experience, like with Jagex or RuneScape, for example?
Yeah, of course. So as a professional, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So I started my career at Jagex. I didn't go into the investment banking job that I should have gone into.
Why don't you not have to pay for every character you have on RuneScape?
Yeah, well... It does sound like they're not going to be going that direction at all, because he does actually give a little bit of feedback on that. So, well, he talks about the survey.
Company that I loved, and Part of that was to spite the parents who'd been saying, "You'll never get a job if you play that game all day." Look at me now, mum. That said, so that's how I got into the industry. After that, I spent the next few years only working in gaming. So first as an investor, I invested in a bunch of early stage gaming studios to try and create the next big games of the world. After that, I joined a radically different business to Jagex, a business called Huge Games, which is a mobile gaming business, very monetization oriented, entirely different to Jagex and what this company needs. And
you see, when I hear that, I think a lot of other people also seen the same thing, that they're worried about, because he had a background in that, do they think it's going to go forward, doing like mobile style games? Because obviously, let's be honest, RuneScape has now got a mobile version. So it makes you wonder if they're going to push more into that than they are actually like desktop gaming. Makes you wonder. It does make you wonder.
And then, saw that company through an IPO, did a lot of good work with the players of those games.
Well, he has a background,
and then
but
sort
is still a player of
through
RuneScape.
a winding path, found my way back to Jagex in the last
true.
sort of 6 months. So it's amazing to be back.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, welcome. Exactly that. Okay, so I know a little bit about your background in terms of actual gaming. You've spoke to me a little bit about RuneScape and Old School. Claim to be max in RuneScape?
At one point I was. This was before some of the recent 110s, but at one point a couple of years ago I was maxed.
That's a pretty good achievement. And what about Old School? So we know we're close to max. What's your total level?
2175.
Wow. Okay, so you are relatively close.
Can you tell that I checked?
You were prepared for this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, it's a high total level, sort of in a literal sense, but I'm miles away. I think I'm like high mid 80s on agility, mining, and rune crafting. So I'm about a quarter of the way
you
there.
Really saved the best till last.
Exactly. Yeah,
that is good.
That's it. I'm not really a total level skiller kind of guy. I think I'm a PVMer, very casual most of all. I've been a PvPer in the past, but terrible. But now I'm a TOB obsessive.
Awesome. So you know your level. Well, what is your favorite piece of content, would you say?
Yeah, it's got to be Theatre of Blood. It's got to be. Like, I get hard carried every time by the group that I play with. And I always end up being the mage and like freezing Nilos. But yeah, I love it. For whatever reason, I think that second raid that Old School did has real alchemy in it. I love TOA, I love Chambers, but for whatever reason, Top's the one for me.
Oh, I like it. You speak in my language because it's also my favourite raid.
We will raid at some point.
That answer worried me.
So you fancy at some point?
What was that? What was that again? What worried you, Bask? Don't worry, I don't mind pausing the video here. So we've actually been watching a good chunk of it at the moment. So what worried you? Let me know. I'm just fucking running back here. I don't know why I got my hand.
From all the PVM content, he likes Todd the most.
What, the Theatre of Blood? So what, are you worried that he wants to do more like group, like raids, or is it you're more worried about like? Are you more worried that
Which is by far the hardest raid in OSRS.
Oh, I get you now. Yeah, so you want more like, again, low level, mid level content to high level content. Yeah, I don't know what it is though. If the community really wants all out content on RuneScape, like really top tier, hard bosses, hard this. I mean, I like hard content, but at the same time, even I know I'm not ready for a lot of the shit that's in the game. Like, there's a long way I've got to go before I even reach that step. Someone actually messaged me on Blue Sky today, actually saying that they hope that they put more mid-level content in the game. And to be fair, I kind of agreed with that. So I know what you mean by what you said there. I don't know. We can only wait and see, can't we?
Maybe we'll jump on stream and showcase your skills.
I'm going to regret saying it, but yes, absolutely. Let's do
it here
that.
first. The community stream coming to you. We'll have Mod North with a team of TOB carries.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Okay, so a little bit of the fun stuff out of the way. There's some pretty serious questions. We had the announcement go out on Tuesday, just of this week, and with there we asked the community what questions that they might have for you based on the announcement. Now, some of our players are wondering why.
Question though, do you know they say that, right? Like the community questions. Do you think? Now again, I'm only speculating here. I'm not saying that they do this, but do you think they like pick out the ones that they kind of want, not really like the hard hitting questions? Obviously, not like blatantly like fucking insulting stuff. Like obviously, Jagex is shit, blah blah blah. What about like
Oh, definitely.
You think they do? You think they do pick? Yeah, I think they do as well, to be fair. I think they do.
Now has the CEO suddenly
100%.
changed? And more specifically,
100%.
was that tied to, quite frankly, some of the backlash that we saw from the players regarding the conjoint analysis around membership?
I love how they say. I always find it with every company though. It's like wherever you work. Like it's not just like games. It's like any company you work for. The way they pick certain wording is so strange to me. Like analysis. It was like, well, it wasn't an analysis. It was literally just trying. It was almost like dipping their toes in the water to see how the community reacted. They must have known. They must have known the community was going to have a shit fit. They must have known that the community were going to absolutely have a shit fit over the survey that they put out. There's no way they didn't think that it was gonna work.
No, not even remotely. These changes, to change the CEO of a business like this, it takes months of prep and timing. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's definitely not a fast thing to do. And so changes like this don't happen overnight and in response to single items like this.
Well, that's what I thought. It's so odd, mate. I don't understand why. It can't be them making the decisions. It has to be the people that own, like, that have an investment in it. They must be making the decisions. It can't be them.
Actually, my respect for Mod Pips, as you've already heard, is huge. He managed this business as a CEO for 8 years. He'd been part of the team for 14. He took a 20-year-old point-and-click browser MMO to its greatest player numbers ever late last year, alongside, obviously, your fantastic teams. But what he's done is not to be knocked, and I can't think of anyone else who's done something similar. So no, this is definitely not a knee-jerk reaction to anything that's happened in the past few months.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for clarifying. And I'd just like to, if possible, another difficult one, potentially, talk more specifically around that conjoint membership analysis. Is there anything that we feel players should know about right now, anything that they may expect to hear from in the future?
Yeah, that conjoint analysis was a total misstep.
Just a coincidence then.
Total misstep.
Yeah, mate, it's so weird. Listen to what they said. Listen to this bit again. This bit's fucking weird. It's weird they actually even put this in the Q&A. I was a bit shocked they even did it.
We feel players should know about right now, anything that they may expect to hear from in the future.
Yeah, that conjoint analysis was a total misstep, like just total misstep. I've been a player for 20 years, and my first feeling seeing that conjoint go live was, that was a mistake. That's not who we are. Ultimately, I was a board member at the time, total responsibility for that alongside the rest of the management team and the board. However, it was.
Do you think the reason why they reacted like that is because it completely backfired on their face? So do you think that's why they had to feel like, because if he said he was on the board making that decision as well, surely we're not, obviously we don't work at Talking Jagex at all, but like if you sat there, right, and obviously you love the game and you know the community that well, if they turn around and say to you, like, we're going to do a survey where we might ask people if they want to pay more for their memberships or charge more for this and that, you would sit there and go, you've gone batshit crazy. You've gone batshit crazy if you think this is going to pass. Like, you would at least say something in the meeting, wouldn't you? You would go like, this isn't going to work. Like, this business model for old school RuneScape isn't going to work. Even for RuneScape 3. I don't even know if RuneScape 3, if the community even kicked off about that, to be fair. I don't follow the RuneScape 3 community that much, so I don't even know how they reacted to the survey. But I'm pretty certain they kicked off as well.
They massively did.
Mate, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Was a mistake, and I think we're 100% clear on that. It shouldn't need to be said out loud, but there will never be microtransactions in old school RuneScape, ever.
There you go. There you go. There you go. He said it. He said that. Let's hear it again.
To be said out loud, but there will never be microtransactions in old school RuneScape, ever.
What do you think? Do you think there'll never be microtransactions? Do you think after that survey, do you think that might have helped us out in the long term? By the way, we've hit level 34 thieving now. Bash. Do you think that there'll never be microtransactions? Mind you, though, this is why I hate the wording sometimes. They say that won't be microtransactions, but I didn't hear anything about adverts. I didn't hear anything about any
as
of
long
these
as it
plans.
continues to go well. If the game dips, though, isn't a bond considered MTX?
What microtransaction? Yeah, I would kind of. I don't know because
Bonds are MTX, but they are vital.
Yeah, bonds are weird because like the reason why I think the bonds work is because like you've got two options. You can buy them within.
Without bonds, osrs would have died ages ago.
Yeah, I don't mind bonds. I think bonds are fine. I think it does have a good balance. Like again, like I said, if you don't find some way of like keeping the game going, it will die. The game will die out. It won't survive. And I don't care how passionate the community is, it won't live. So unfortunately, you've got to find ways of doing certain things to keep it going. But also, I like the fact that you could actually buy bonds with in-game currency. That I like. I like that a lot. So you've got two choices. You can rather just grind loads and obviously buy it that way, or you can just pay real world money. I don't mind that. I think that's fine.
This will never be an advertising-driven business. That's not who we are.
Oh, okay. So you also said that, and not an advertisement-driven business. Okay. I'm interested. I've got a little bit of hope now I've got a little bit of hope for the future of RuneScape and that.
I'm aware of that. Management's aware of that. The team's aware of that, and the players are definitely aware of that. Oh, yeah. But I just, for the sake of clarity, total misstep lines in the sand.
Actions speak louder
Again,
than
thank
words.
you for the extra clarity. And there's one more thing
That is true. That is true, Bass. That is very true. The problem is here, do you know when he says thank you for the clarity? You know that they set that up. Like, they discussed this and they've gone, right, we need to get everyone back. Because I knew a load of people that quit RuneScape because of the survey. So they must have seen a massive drop.
Yeah.
They saw a massive drop in player base. They went, I'm out. See ya. I'm out.
This entire interview is 110% scripted.
Fuck yeah, 110%. Absolutely, this is scripted. Absolutely.
Pressure about on this matter, and that is around
which isn't a bad
thing. One of the things that came out of that was
there's nothing wrong with it being planned. It's just that for me, so this is how I think they should do the Q&A. It's like they should give them the heads up about what questions they're going to be asked. But I don't think they should be given like a script as a response. It generally should just be like off the top of their head. Like, you know, because that way they get a bit of an idea of what they want to say. That's fine. I think that's fine if they get it in advance, but I don't think it should be scripted. I'm not saying that it was scripted, but you know what I mean though? If it's too robotic, it doesn't fit, you don't feel the passion or the pride of the game. But he seemed to be fair. He seemed to be fairly upfront about the answers that he gave, so. But you are right, though. Actions speak louder than words, though.
Perceived notion for value when players are paying for their membership, especially around our services that we offer them. Is there anything that players can expect to learn more about on that?
Yeah, good question. Absolutely, yes. So we will be publishing a roadmap for customer service improvements in April, so in 1 month. But you can expect to see a lot.
I've heard, I don't know, because again, I've come late, obviously, since I'm fucking 2007, 2008 playing the fucking game, coming back into it. But I have heard that the customer service from Jagex is absolute dog shit. Can anyone confirm that in chat? Because like I generally don't know how bad the customer service is, but everything I've been hearing from people, it's like it's really bad. Like it's really bad. I don't know how true that is though. I don't know how true that is. So I'm assuming
it's the worst from any game I have ever seen.
Is it really bad? Is it like really, really bad? So I'm assuming the reason why they've even said that on stream is, do you think they've also seen people complain about the customer support? Like, to me, it seems like they generally have listened to what the community have said, and they actually are taking it in. Does that what it feels like to you lot? Because that's what it feels like to me.
A lot of what you might expect to see. Things like more human interaction in the process, transparency of ticket management processes, some self-serve functionality, all of the things that you'd really hope to see from a best-in-class.
Hey, hold on, wait. There's a question I want to ask, actually, some people in chat. All the World of Warcraft players, obviously, like I know a lot of us probably have played World of Warcraft and stuff in the past, but I'm on about like Sleepy Joe, Space, Susie, and anyone else, and obviously Dragon and that. Or Stefu, like, how good is the customer service?
It's the same in every game.
Is it bad? Is it bad in? Has it gotten worse than in World of Warcraft? Because I remember back in the day when I used to play it.
All the GMs that was about with the community are all gone.
Oh, they're all gone. Oh shit. Jesus, it sounds like God. What's going on with the gaming industry then? Why are they getting so shit?
I remember in Runescape you could see the GMs walking about.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing them in the game as well all the time. I would always see them in chat, like talking to the community, pissing about. I always saw them fishing. It was so funny, but I don't know. That's crazy. That.
Fast live game customer service production. It's not all going to drop overnight, but there is a real clear process, and we're going to treat this just like a large piece of content that's rolling out, whether it's Zaya, Varlamore, or Sailing, and check in with the community procedurally and frequently with status updates. So yeah, April.
Amazing.
Fantastic. That's great.
It's good that they've actually, to be fair to them, and I'm going to give them their dues. As someone who's obviously like come back into it, I'm kind of glad to hear all this. It does sound like they actually are listening to the community that have been in the game.
Anyone here excited for Sailing?
Right. Well, to be fair, I am a little bit. Like, I'm a bit mixed on it. It's like I am. Like, I think it's gonna be an interesting skill, but the only thing I'm worried about is if it's gonna be any fun. If it's not fun, then that's it. It's game over for Sailing. But if it's actually an enjoyable process, then yeah, it's got to feel like I'm on an adventure. Got to feel like I'm exploring, like the seas and stuff like that. If it feels like I'm exploring, like Wind Waker, like I said,
I agree.
I said to one in chat, it has to feel like. Did anyone play Zelda? Did anyone play Wind Waker? Did anyone play that? Because in my head, I'm thinking that. Like, you know, when you explore, like, you know, you go to different islands, you find different, like, bad guys, like, new bad guys, new things, like, new enemies, new, like, I don't know, like, well, how about some, like, cool new drops that are different, that only for, like, out that you can find out in the sea? Like, maybe some, like, cool armor, like, different armor. That'd be really cool. It's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be, like, high-end armor, but it could be, like, mid-level armor. That'd be really cool for people when you're exploring. It would be good for, like, late players as well, like, you know, like people that redo their characters or like make another Iron Man or something. Like, you know, when they play the game again, they can like get new gear and like use that instead. You know, using that against Scurious or against the you know, the Titans, like, you know, against the Ice Giant and the Fire Giant, like something like that. Just something really, really cool. That's what I've got in my head. I don't know if people agree with that. They might think it's dog shit, but that's what I want to see. Like things like that makes it feel really like you're exploring.
So, as our CEO, what is would you say, is your vision for Jagex, RuneScape, old school RuneScape? What would you say is your 10-year plan, for example, between 5 to 10 years?
10-year plans to grow the communities of both, and it really is that simple. So Jagex as a business is fantastic at maintaining and building and growing old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3 and shortly RuneScape Survival. I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah, that's that new. Is that new game they're working on? It's like a survival game, isn't it? That's gonna be really weird. That.
Actually, what's closest and nearest to my heart is taking old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3, not meddling with the formula, making them incrementally better with the most fantastic designers, I think, on earth for these games. I'm looking to many of your respective teams here. I think if I get out of the way and empower and endorse and support those teams to continue doing what they've been doing, particularly in the case of old school, and we'll talk a bit more about the differentiations between each shortly, I suspect. Get out the way, empower them to do what they do best, deliver fantastic content that players want for years on end. And we supplement that with a bit of hype building. I actually think there's no reason why these communities can't grow healthily for the next sort of 5-10 years. And to be honest, in the case of RuneScape 3, I think we need to think longer than 10 years. It needs to be 25, 50 years in the future. There's no reason why these games...
Okay, right. Question in chat. We're going to do... All right. The reason why I want to do a little poll, because I'm quite curious. Okay, so bear with me for a minute. Right, here we go. So the question is, which version will survive the longest? So what I mean by that is, between both of them, old school RuneScape or RuneScape 3. We'll put a little timer.
Oh, that's easy.
Here we go. Start poll. I've got a poll up, so if everyone could please vote, because I'm quite curious to... The reason why I wanted to vote is I just want to see what everyone thinks. I personally think old school RuneScape will survive longer than RuneScape 3. But that's just me. I'm not trying to be biased. I genuinely want to know what people think. If you genuinely think RuneScape 3 will last the longest, put RuneScape 3. There's no hate towards RuneScape 3, by the way. Jenny, I don't have any hate to the game. I actually think the game's actually pretty decent to some extent, but I think it's got some issues that it needs sorting out. What do we all think? Give it another minute. Anyone else in that's lurking or anything, please just let me know. You don't have to say anything. Just this isn't like, you know, I've got you, whatever, blah blah blah. Even people outside, like if they never played RuneScape before, obviously they've seen both games. What do they think from an outsider? What they think? I'm quite curious. Okay, just give it another couple of minutes. Okay, I'll continue playing the video a little bit longer. The timer's on anyway, so it's still there.
Games can't have another 25 years in the case of a game like RuneScape 3. We just need to make sure that game, its economic model, its integrity is set up for
nobody
another
thinks
25
3
years of
rupees will
sustainable
outlet
health.
OSRS lol, cause OSRS is king of internet.
That is true, to be fair. That is true, Big Devi. But still, I want to be fair. I want to be honest. You know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of good potential with RuneScape 3. I just think they fucked up with the launch. I think the launch was just the biggest fuck up they've ever done with that game.
The growth.
You had it here, 25 years. Let's go.
It's really
Yeah, that's it. There's a little exclamation mark. Remind me, 25 years.
Yeah.
in the
Set your
chat.
reminders.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
So, elephant in the room within the community has been your previous roles. And you mentioned yourself working at Huge. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've personally seen many players with a large amount of skepticism behind your intentions coming into Jagex, fearing the worst case being hugely aggressive monetization across both games. What's your response to that?
There will never be microtransactions in old school RuneScape, and RuneScape 3 needs to be less aggressive on monetization in order.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that for him to say that about RuneScape 3. That's kind of weird to hear, though, because I actually thought their model base was monetization. I thought that's what kept that game going. That's really weird, that.
To build sustainability for the next 25 years. It's as clear as I can be. I've seen firsthand what these hyper monetizing games on mobile look like. That is not what our games are, and it is not what they need. It's totally incompatible. So while I totally have respect for the skepticism and perhaps cynicism about my background and thinking, oh God, I don't want my community and my...
Right. It's weird. Does anyone else feel a bit weird about that, though? Like, that him saying that? Because it wasn't that long ago since they voted, like they put the survey out, and now all of a sudden it feels like they're doing a 180. Unless that was the CEO of, is it Mod Pit? Unless it was him that wanted to push it, so that's why he stepped back.
I think in RS3, they need to cut back on the treasure hunter shit and maybe push more on selling cosmetics through Marketplace.
Is that what you think? You think that's what they should do? Yeah, well, the problem is, I've said this about RuneScape 3 before. I think RuneScape 3 is okay. It's just like you say, it's just like all the treasure hunter, the fucking Wheel of Fortune, whatever the fuck that is. Like, I remember when I stopped playing RuneScape, and I was thinking about playing RuneScape 3. Because I was like, when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Like, this is going to be really, really cool. Because I was like, old school RuneScape, but with like updated graphics. That's all I was thinking it was going to be. I just thought it was like a new engine. Like, I was like, this is going to be sick. This is going to be really, really good. Like, you know, these graphics with like the mechanics that we've got now. Oh, we're sailing. Do you know what I mean? We're absolutely sailing. But when they talked about combat evolution and that, and it came out and it was a devastation, I was just like, oh my God. Like, what have they done? What have they done to this game? Like, it's not what we want. Because obviously they tried to go like every other game. Like World of Warcraft and stuff. But it's like, if I wanted to play World of Warcraft, I'll play fucking World of Warcraft. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird that they look at other business models and they sort of think like, oh yeah, we need to become like this. It's like, no, you don't. You don't need to be like that. That's the whole point. That's why we don't play these games. But I don't know. It's a shame, really. It's a shame. But hey, it is what it is, though, isn't it?
A game to go in that direction, it will
At Christmas, there was the Aurora Santa hat,
great.
which was available through Treasure Hunter.
Oh, the Santa hat. Yeah, well, I've heard about the Santa hat.
People
situation.
getting 5x Aurora Santa hats going at 5B each.
Yeah, I did hear about the Santa hat situation for RS3. I did hear about that.
So MTX is obviously a very big topic in the RS3 community. We've had a whole mass of questions that have been coming in regarding this. Last year, we had a consultancy questionnaire about MTX to our players. So what can they expect? Has there been any update on this that we can tell our players?
Yeah, good question. So I looked at that consultancy when it went live. I think I responded myself, and I've seen some of the results since. Look, my view on this is we're not in a sustainable holding pattern right now with the way that RuneScape 3 monetizes. That's no secret. The community knows this. It was clear.
How well is, without being biased in chat, how well is RuneScape 3 doing? Like, it seems like there's a community there. The community's there for it, for RuneScape 3. Because obviously I know there's that big divide, isn't there, between old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3. But like, overall, how is it actually doing?
Not great.
It's not
not
great.
terrible.
Not great, not terrible. So it's in the middle. So it could swing. So it could swing either way. It could swing either way. It could like end up, you know.
I think the numbers AHVE been growing.
The numbers have been growing. Well, this is the problem, and I think you lot might agree with me. You might disagree.
I am off for now, prepping for RPG session. See ya later. Good luck with the master farmers.
No worries, handsome. Thank you so much. I hope to see you back in chat. But yeah, take it easy. Have a good one. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So what I'm thinking, shit, I can't remember what I was going to say now. What was I going to say? I can't remember now. Handsome, you just distracted me with your handsomeness. What was I saying? Oh, that was it. RuneScape 3 and old school RuneScape. Right, let's be honest, right? RuneScape 3, visually, right, to the general public, gamers, looks more pleasing, yeah? So we could probably all agree with that to some extent. That it generally does look better. However, I love the old school poly graphics. I've said this multiple times on stream. I love the way it looks. I like that old school. I like the polygon stuff. I think it looks really cool. Like, always reminds me of like Final Fantasy 7. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like, I love it. I think I absolutely. Do you know what I mean? However, from a general standpoint, a lot of people say that they would have loved to try RuneScape, old school RuneScape, but they don't like the graphics. Now, between me and you, this is why I think they're working on the old school RuneScape HD engine. You know, the new engine they're working on. That seems to me like that's the push they want to go for old school RuneScape. Basically revamp the graphics, so it's like not too new, but not too old either. So obviously it might get more people in. Now again, I don't know if people agree with me on that. I personally quite like the graphics. I think they look pretty good. At the same time though, I don't mind the HD graphics either. Like the new version that they're working on, I think that looks pretty cool as well. Again, as long as they give us the options, which it appears that they are doing, and I think that's the main thing there, is they give us options. As long as they give us that, I think they'll do fine. Now, RuneScape 3, I really don't know what direction they can go in with that, because I know they changed some things. So where they do the mechanics is that when you attack, it's pretty much all like a one. It does it automatically now. Am I correct on that? So like you can stack up your attacks, can't you? Because obviously the way they did the combat system was different. So as far as I'm aware, you can stack them. So now you can just like click. So it's almost like old school RuneScape. You can click now and it does the attacks in a row, instead of like you just like playing it like you're playing World of Warcraft. Now the problem is with that, I don't know what they're going to do with RuneScape 3. I genuinely haven't got. I don't want RuneScape 3 to go anywhere, to be fair, because I think it actually is a good game, and I think it has its.
Yeah, your ability bar is automated.
Yeah, it's automated, isn't it? Yeah, I thought it was.
You can set it how you want.
Yeah, so you could set them up in a row and it does it automatically, doesn't it? It does it from a thing, and you can still control it a little bit if you want to do certain stuff. Personally, for me, I don't know what direction they're going to go in, because they don't want to go back to old school RuneScape with RuneScape 3, because if they do that, that means you might as well just play old school. But at the same time, if they go too far away from old school RuneScape, you know, like they say the inspiration, it won't feel like the same game either. So it's weird that we've almost got two games in a row. Two different versions of the game. It's very, very odd. It's very odd.
In the feedback, our internal team knows this, and our team are extraordinary. They care about this game more than you'd believe. They don't want it to be an unsustainable pattern. Players don't want it to be an unsustainable pattern. I don't want it to be an unsustainable pattern. What we need to do is recognize that we're leaning a bit too much on the gas right now, maybe a lot too much, and find a way to come off the gas. It won't be quick. This is a game with 20 years of feature development and interconnected systems within it that are all tied into our microtransaction ecosystem. That's not an easy thing to unpick, and so it won't be a mic drop moment where everything sort of
I
gets
think a
switched
lot of
off.
3 rupees players are stuck.
Yeah, I agree with that, to be fair. I agree with that. I agree with that, Stevie. I think the problem is, I think you hit the nail on the head there, because they built the model around the fucking monetization system. So it's like, now
They're stuck in a game that doesn't feel like that nostalgic game they used to play.
Yeah, they're fucked.
They're all at our age where we work, don't have the time to start new in osrs. It's a hooge grind.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, they're both opposites. Like it's like you said there, you hit the nail on the head there. They're both opposites to each other, though, aren't they? So old school RuneScape is like, it's a proper grind game. Like it's proper grindy. Like it is a grind game. And some people don't want to do a lot of grinds, and that's fine. I think that's fine. Obviously RuneScape 3 is too easy. The only thing I've ever heard about RuneScape 3 is the best way to play RuneScape 3 is to be an Iron Man. That's what I've heard. But the problem is, in my head, it's like, that's not good if you have to only pick one certain mode in order to actually enjoy the game. To me, that's pretty shit. However, I think the graphics look amazing. I think the designs look amazing. I think the animations look amazing. I think some of the mechanics look really cool. I don't know about the Necromancer stuff. I'm a little bit... I like the triangle system. I like the free combat mechanic, you know, melee, range, and magic. I think that's like a good system. I think trying to put like a fort thing in there isn't good, to be fair. I think it fucks it up. But at the same time, that's in RuneScape 3. I just hope they don't put it in old school RuneScape, but that's just me personally. But yeah, I don't know. It's a hit and miss thing with both games. Old school RuneScape's good because it's like, you know, like the grind, but at the same time, it kind of needs something to push it forwards for the future. Where RuneScape 3 is like, it's good.
I have maxed Iron Man in 3 rupees, and the thing with that game is content doesn't really open up until you max.
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard about that as well. But to be fair, can we be honest though?
The game is massively focused on PVM.
On PVM, yeah. Well, I think old school RuneScape's good because you can do PVM or PvP depending on what you want to do, or you could do a mixture. However, the only issue is that I do find a little bit is that old school RuneScape is good at the start, but then in the middle it's kind of shit because you're trying to figure out what you want to do, and then later on it's really good. So, but hopefully if they keep introducing like loads of mid-level content, I think old school RuneScape could be really good, like really good. That's where Blizzard went right though. Blizzard have got that, they hit the nail on the head with that though. Because I remember when I played that game, it was perfect. Like when you do your first dungeon, like even though you had like, imagine when you did your first dungeon, like you had shit gear, didn't you? Like you had the
They're
worst
focusing
gear.
on 110 right now. They just released 110 rune crafting.
Yeah, you see, the problem is with that. Do you think that's a good thing that they put it up to like 110? Like to me personally, I don't like that. If I can be honest with you, but again, each their own. Let me play a bit more of this. We're nearly at the end anyway.
Move forwards, it will be turning the tanker into a direction that guarantees another 25 years of sustainable, healthy operation. I think the quick way to answer it is, we know there is a problem there. I'm personally invested in creating a more healthy game. So yeah, it's going to happen. It will happen.
Great, thank you. I'm sure, yeah, a lot of players are going to be wanting to know more about this. So, you know, that's great. Thank you for being honest about it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what about things that aren't RuneScape or old school, right? There's a lot of upcoming projects, things that Jagex are working on, especially something like RuneScape Project Survival. How do you feel about that?
RuneScape. That is absolutely RuneScape. It's not old school, but it is RuneScape. Yeah, look, Survival for me is really interesting project. I've been quite lucky. I've played a bunch of the internal builds and some of the alpha test builds as well over the past few months. And the last one, genuinely, a few weeks ago, I was supposed to be spending about an hour just looking through the latest build to check for changes. Spent more than 20 hours playing the game over a weekend. I'm not joking, I swear.
Oh, wow.
And so I got really hooked, and I think my girlfriend was worried about my health. And about 4 a.m., I sort of trundled into the bedroom, like still stressing about goblins just destroying my house without giving up too much. I swear, I actually am. I'm really excited. This is one of the...
That sounds like it's a what's it called? Like tower, like like tower defense. Am I the only one that's getting that vibe? Does anyone else think that as well? Do you know when he's saying about goblins destroying my house? Do you think it's like a tower defense kind of game? Do you think that's what it kind of feels like? Because that's
yeah.
That's what I'm kind of getting from that. I wonder how they're going to do that. That'll be fucking weird. That's going to be really weird. That's going to be
Plants
really weird.
versus Zombies OSRS.
Do you think that's what it is?
Him getting like Rust vibe.
You're thinking about Rust. Yeah, it could be. Oh, yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah, I am thinking. I think me in my head when I'm hearing that, I agree with what Steve and Bask are saying. Like it feels a bit more like sort of top down kind of that style. But yeah, I don't know. We might be in a bit of a shock. It depends what graphics. It depends how they're going to do their graphics. To be fair. POV might be pretty interesting. Imagine having POV style for old school for RuneScape.
Do you think they would put that less effort in it?
I don't know. I generally don't know. Because I think the problem is what they've got is if they put too much effort, if they put a lot of effort into it and it becomes like a dud, then they've just wasted their time, haven't they? But if they actually make it
so we can tame the goblins and we have Arc meeting OSRS. Because they said it's not OS.
Yes, they did say
so
that.
It's an entirely different mode. It's an open world survival.
It could be an open world. Maybe Joe could be right, to be fair. It could feel more like a like Rust. It could be like that. Maybe I'm thinking about it completely different. But the problem is, like you said, we haven't seen it, have we? So once we see a teaser for it, then we'll understand more. But don't know, because it's the words he said when he said "goblins destroying my house." To me, that was very Plants versus Zombies. That's what I was thinking. But Steve could be right as well. It could be like open world survival, like along with what Joe said. So yeah, it's interesting. Let's see what else he's got to say about it.
The first big releases that Jagex has had for a long time now, years, and it's one of the few products that I've seen sort of being ideated upon that really deserves to wear the RuneScape name, in my opinion. So we'll hear more about that shortly, but I'm stoked. I think it'll be great.
Amazing. Well, Mudnorth, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today and answer the questions. The transparency has been really appreciated. I've personally really, really been grateful for the fact that you've been here. I'm sure the players have too. Speaking of transparency, is this something that we should expect more of moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're at our best when the game teams and the community are closest together. I think that needs to continue, and it's going to be one of my jobs to make sure that it does. But ultimately, I think...
To be fair, I'm going to say something here, and I don't know if everyone agrees with me on this. Again, that's fine if you can disagree with it, but the only problem is that I find with the... You lot might agree with me on this.
Oh, I have another feather I can stick up your ass. That's what these questions are. Lol.
Pretty much, but do you know when he says about working closely with the community? Now, don't get me wrong. I think the RuneScape community is absolutely fantastic. I think that there's a lot of passionate people and there's a lot of cool stuff that the communities make. However, I do think sometimes, though, us as players can probably stop a growth of a game. Because there's people out there that don't like... Again, I actually quite like the Grand Exchange in RuneScape. A lot of people don't. Some people don't even want this version of the game. They want like fucking 2007, 2008. Like, when I mean that version of the game. Like, no Grand Exchange, like no other newer bosses or anything like that. So to me, it's like they're good, but there's sometimes a growth that can stop. Because personally...
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean, don't you?
Varric West Bank Trading. Or Valley Gardens, lol.
I remember, to be fair, I used to love standing out. You know, when you used to type in, you're selling stuff. Like Steve's just said there, like you're typing out, selling, blah, blah, blah. I do
Best days.
I do love
But
stuff
that's
like
just not how gaming is anymore.
No, it's not. It's not.
That unknown game could be a Warcraft, Command and Conquer type game maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
Without the GE, updates and new content, OSRS will die.
Yeah, absolutely. But but it's like even Jagex says, like for us, it's the best days, because obviously we're nostalgia when we played it. But I think at the same time, I actually quite like the you know, I love bosses, and I love bosses in RuneScape. I think like the one thing that used to break my heart when I used to play RuneScape was it was really hard to even get ready to go face like, you know, the cow fight queen, you know, the black dragon, you know, the king black dragon, like things like that. For me, it was like quite heartbreaking because it was like you couldn't do it unless you had like, you know, a group of people, or like, you know, don't get me wrong, it should be hard to get to, but like it felt a bit restricting. But with this, I think they've got a good balance now. You can actually go and face bosses and stuff, which I really love. I love stuff like that. So,
Lightweight,
baby, lightweight, woo! But at the same time, things should be difficult for certain people, like at a certain level. However, like I say, as long as we can find that right balance,
lol.
I think we should find that right balance. Like again, Jagex, the community keeps Jagex in line, but sometimes obviously Jagex will say like, well, no, look, if you want the game to grow, we need to put more stuff in. So it's all about balance.
I think your game teams, you folks on the front line already do a pretty great job of it. I think what we're doing with player support, announcing the roadmap in April, is a great example of the tone that we'd like to continue to set. But actually, I don't think there's a need to reinvent the wheel on that, to be honest. It's important that the community stays close to the game team, and myself and the rest of the leadership team, we do what we can to enable that.
Amazing. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Of course.
So thank you so much, Mod North. It's been absolutely fantastic having you here with us. I'm sure the players are going to be super excited to see what's coming up next in the next update. But thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Thanks, gents.
Bye.
Well, there you go. Okay.